Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface 8020, back again with another great commentary. Um, so Adnan Syed was recently released, I think it was last week, maybe not quite that long ago, of released from prison. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but I think podcasts are fucking stupid. I really dislike them a lot. There's only one podcast that I listen to. And even that one is like really short and irregular. It's only like usually half an hour long at a time. And the the but there is like also like one really big exception to the podcast or stupid rule, and it was this podcast called Serial, um, hosted by Sarah Honig, who I think is affiliated with PBS or something like that. I don't know. Back in late 2014 is when it came out. And, like a podcast, even if you like podcasts, because I know a lot of people who do, and what it usually is it's something they listen to while they're doing something else. And it's like background noise that you're kind of in and out and stuff like that, and that's just not the way that I consume content. Like there are some things that I'll put on in the background while I'm doing something else. That's true. I mean, some type of YouTube videos, not podcasts. But like generally speaking, if there's something I'm interested in, I'm like focusing on that. So and that's not what most podcasts are. And this Serial thing, it was about the case of, because there was actually other seasons of it that people said sucked. I don't know. I didn't listen to them. It was about this case of Adnan Syed, and when I would there was still an internet back then, so my attention span was still shot. But when a new Serial podcast was released, I would stop everything and just turn it on my computer and just listen to the podcast. It was that good. It was phenomenal. A couple bad episodes, but phenomenal. So what happened with Serial is this Sarah Honig chick got contacted. I don't know why she was contacted in particular by this Rabia Chowdhury, who's a lawyer in Baltimore, saying like, look, this my brother's best friend got locked up for a crime he didn't commit. You should do like I don't know, talk about it or something. I don't know. And so Sarah Honig starts investigating with her partner. I forget her partner's name. Starts investigating it, and then just doing an episode about like the case and the investigation. And the case was this guy Adnan Syed. Now he's 40 something, in his early 40s, but I believe it was the year 2000. He was a senior of high school. He got locked up for murdering his girlfriend Heyman Lee, and he said he didn't do it, and that's what the case was about, and so I don't know if I said this earlier, but he's actually now just been released. So if he got locked up in the year 2000, the winner of 2000, um, and he just got released last week. So he's been in jail for over 22 years, and he was 18 when he went away. So, um, so I guess he's only like 40 something, but and I think there was even an HBO special about him. The Serial podcast was so successful, there was an HBO special about him. Um, so what happened is, uh, okay, he's of Pakistani origin. His parents immigrated here, and the girl who got murdered, Heyman Lee, is of Korean origin. She was of Korean origin, I think, and her parents had immigrated here. So the basically the prosecution's case against him is they were in love. She broke up with him. He was hurt. He was not just hurt, but like humiliated, and he lashed out by killing her. And the thing is with the now there was no physical evidence tying him to the crime. And the case was heavily based um, on the testimony of his accomplice in covering up the crime, Jay something or other, black guy who was like, I guess not really a friend of his, but an associate of his. And the so when you put and so not a reliable guy, a very just a habitual liar and drug dealer, just kind of a low life. At least that back then he was. I don't know. I don't know what he is now, and what he's like now. So on the surf, and then not only that, Adnan is like so amazingly charming and likable. Like he's just like this super charming guy, and you kind of want to believe him. Like in one sense, you don't. Like for me at least, right? In one sense, I don't want to believe him because you don't want to think that some innocent guy got locked up. And then on the other hand, you do kind of want to believe him because he's just so charming. I mean, he's just out of this world charming, and the thing, and like a lot of the people who are like some like I think there was one teacher who was interviewed for the podcast, and she was kind of like well, like a teacher of his in Heyman Lee. She's like, well, yeah, she didn't actually say this, but in so many words, it was kind of like, yeah, maybe he did do it, but that's not really who he is. He really is a good guy underneath, but he just he was young and snapped or some shit. And the thing is, the facts of the case don't make it look like it snapped. It looked like it was pretty premeditated. So if you have any interest, check it out. But the thing is, this guy is so guilty. He's like so ridiculously guilty. I know that on the surface, the stuff I said makes it sound like, well, maybe they got the wrong guy. No, 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 no. He did it. And there's like, if you put all, you don't really have to put too much together. Like it's like, again, you take the stuff on the surface and maybe it looks like, oh, he might not be it. But the thing is, it's like, nobody believes Jay because Jay is trustworthy. He's not. People believe Jay because everybody acknowledges that they were together that entire afternoon. When Hay disappeared, and everybody Adnan admits he was with him that entire afternoon, and his just excuse is always just like, oh yeah, I don't really remember what we were doing, and the they and Jay is the one who told the cops where Hayes' car was. Her car was parked like 2 hours away or something. So, and he had said that what we did is we buried the body, we drove it, we drove the car like away, and then I followed Adnan, and then I dropped, and then Adnan got in my car and drove back, and we drove back. So the thing is, like, if Jay, at the very least, Jay was involved, right? Or else how would he have known where the car was? Unless you believe it's like some kind of ridiculous conspiracy. Um, but and so you might say, well, like, well, how do you know? How do you know Jay didn't do it? It's like, well, Jay didn't really have. Like, if Jay did do it, then there would have needed to. Well, first of all, there was another one of Jay's friend, Jen Pusateri, who she would have needed to be involved at least in the cover up, because she was saying, well, Jay was with me for this like until like 4 o'clock because when Hay was last seen, And the and you know, and don't get me wrong, the state's timeline doesn't work. The state that, and I would say that that would probably be the best case against it, is that the state gave a timeline that just doesn't make any sense, and they have her being murdered in a place that she probably wasn't. She was, they had Hay being murdered in the Best Buy parking lot, which is nearby the school, when it was probably done near the school library. Um, but yeah, again, I mean, I don't remember all the details, but I've looked into it very extensively. Look, you put everything together, it's obvious that this guy did it. Adnan did it, and you know, I feel bad for Hayes' mother. I don't know if her father's still around. You know, just like, you know, how painful it must be to have this all reopen. You know, to have your daughter taken away from you, and then, you know, this, the guy who killed her, basically become a celebrity for it, and now he's getting out, of jail. And I'll tell you this Adnan guy is about to, I think, be sleeping with a lot of white girls. So he's and then, you know, whatever he missed out on in jail in terms of women, I think he's about to make up for 100-fold, because he is kind of a celebrity now. Um, the But yeah, no, it's just, you know, part of, like, you know, the whole, like, liberal criminal justice reform movement. So they, you know, you got some liberal prosecutor or judge who was like, yeah, let you know, let this guy out. Um, yeah, it's really tragic. You know, I don't really believe in life sentences for murder anyway. The thing is, like, if you killed somebody, like, in cold blood, and, like, you know, it's that bad, then what's the point of locking them up for life? You know, to me, it would be more just and actually more humane to just execute them. You know, the thing is, Adnan, this should never have come to this, because Adnan should have just been executed. But anyway, but the thing is, you know, I guess one of the things I really wanted to touch on before we leave here is, you know, I wonder if Sarah Honig, you know, feels any guilt or shame for what she did, because she was a big part. I mean, if her podcast is what made this huge. And then at the end of the podcast, she said, "I don't think Adnan did it," which makes no sense. He obviously did it. And, you know, you know, if it wasn't for that, there's a pretty good chance he's still in jail right now. So, you know, like, does she feel like any guilt or any remorse what she did? Like, what about Hayes? What about Hayes' mom? You know, she, yeah, it's fucked up, man. Like, I wonder if, I know that she was in the courtroom when Adnan got released, and I don't know what, you know, like, you know, I gotta believe that part of her, you know, knows that what she did was wrong. But I mean, I don't know. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.